Your first day as an investor. What does it look like? Real Estate Lab. Welcome to Chapter 1, Getting Started. Your first day as an investor. What does it look like? I think you've had to probably at this point, watching this course, you've had to have come to a realization that you want to invest in apartments, or at least you're intrigued by it and you want to learn more, right? And so you've got to figure out what does kind of your first day look like as an investor. I'll go through in a little while what's like the day-to-day look like, but your first day, what do you get started doing? I would say this: you should be educating yourself. That's the first thing. Educate yourself, learn a little bit more about it. You don't need to read 100 books on it yet, but go read a book or two, watch this course, understand how it works, and figure out, hey, is this really what I want to do? Because I'll tell you, once you're ready to start investing and you want to get into it, your first day, right, you need to be determining what your plan is and what your goals are. Unless you have, there's a couple scenarios you might want to invest in multifamily. You might have some capital of your own, and you want to invest that and buy an apartment building, buy an investment property, which is awesome. And you might not want to create a business out of this, right? A lot of what I'm going to be talking about in this is kind of creating a business around investing in apartments, but you may also be here to just learn because you have some capital and you want to go invest in and buy an apartment complex, right? You don't want to go and buy thousands of apartments, but you just want to go buy one or two and have some cash flow from it as a side investment, because maybe you do something different in their day job. And that's great. And this will be very helpful for that as well. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is you really need to figure out what your goals are. Do you want to create a business out of this? Do you want to be full-time? Are you looking to just kind of do this on the side? Are you looking to invest passively in deals, which is possible as well? So figure out what your plan is. What are you looking to do and why? I think a big thing that a lot of people talk about is your why. A lot of people that are natural entrepreneurs, they might, have that natural business instinct. They're extremely ambitious. Not everybody has that from the get. And so you've got to figure out what is your why, what's going to drive you to want to be successful in this business. Because at the end of the day, like starting any business, it is not easy. It's very difficult, actually. I'll go to say it's extremely hard because it's going to take a lot of work to become knowledgeable in this, to find good properties, to understand how all these different aspects work, and to create a business that's going to be not just a business, but a successful business buying in this industry. You're going to need to spend a large amount of time trying to master this business and all the different parts of it, right? And the more parts that you have an understanding of, the more powerful you're going to be, the more tools in your tool belt for this industry, right? We're talking about starting a business here, and starting a business is never easy. You're going to have to work probably a lot harder than most people work in the world, right? To be able to be successful and do this. It's not something that you could do as a hobby. I would say it's not something that I would suggest you do part-time unless you're maybe buying for yourself. But you're going to see the most traction if you can go all in on this and really set aside a lot of time into mastering all the different aspects of this. The more knowledge you have, the easier all this will be, right? And at some point, it does become a lot easier, right? After doing this for several years, it's definitely become an easier business to scale. And now I have different types of challenges, right? Like, how do I buy $50 million in property in 1 year instead of, it took me my first 4 years to do that. So different challenges, right? But at first, the biggest one is figuring out what is your plan. What do you want out of this? Do you want to have, $10,000 a month in cash flow from a couple apartment buildings that you buy with you and some friends and family? Do you want to create a business out of this where you're going to eventually have hundreds of millions of dollars in private equity funds, buying apartments? Do you want to do something in between? Do you just want to buy one building on your own? Like, there's so many different ways you can take this. The knowledge is still the same regardless of which route you go. You've got to have the knowledge. But what do you want to do? So decide on that. Knowledge is confidence. For you to do anything in this business, you need to have some knowledge on it. But then at some point, you need to say, hey, I've got enough knowledge to go in and start doing this. And then you've got to take action, right? Because a lot of people get caught up in learning. And after learning number 1 and 2, they probably should have started doing it, but they just kept learning, and they never started. And now they've got this fear of actually getting in and doing it. So you need to take action. You need to take massive action, lots of action, right? You may feel a little bit nervous going and talking to a broker because you've never done it before, which I would say you shouldn't feel nervous about that. We'll talk about that later. But you're never going to have all the answers before you get into this business. You're never going to have the knowledge that myself or somebody else has who's actually done it before until you try it. I sure didn't when I started. When I started, I'd read a couple books and I'd listened to some podcasts, watched some YouTube videos about apartments, and then I just started doing it, right? After a couple weeks of doing that, I just got right in, started talking to brokers, started looking at deals, underwriting deals, running the numbers. There really wasn't a course on that back then or videos on how to do that. So it was kind of like learn as you go, learn by doing. And most of this business in the end is going to be learn by doing. So take some time, get this 10% base of knowledge here. The other 90% you're going to actually learn on the job. So I think it's really important you figure out why you want to do this and what you want out of it before you set off to start this. And that's going to help drive your actions going forward.